Well, hello, hello, hello. We are so excited once again to be here. You know that communicating with clarity leads to stronger connections and engagement, and also it leads to trust and transparency, which leads to results you seek from your team. So let's just tell it like it is. Being clear in your communication, whether it's written or verbal, leads to the results that you want, right? So let's go to you. How clear are you at when you're talking to people, when you're conveying your message? Do you getting some feedback like, huh? What you say? What you mean by that? What you want me to do? I don't know, but I'm just here to tell you whatever your job, you will need to deliver information with clarity and confidence. Your job as a mom, oh my goodness gracious, if you're not clear and confident, those kids are going to run all over you, right? If you're a teacher, oh my God, first of all, let's just pray for all the teachers all over the nation right now going through staffing shortages and all these kind of things. If you are a teacher and you're going to have to do virtual instruction, or you're going to be in classroom with your mask on and all of those other things, then you must be able to clearly articulate that which you want the students to do, especially if you are someone in a position of authority and you're expecting people to do something, to behave a certain way, then you must be clear in your communication. Um, so, this is the Better You Leadership Podcast. I am the founder of the Better You Leadership podcast. I'm the host, right? And I don't know, I got all tongue tied like that, but I am the founder of the Better You Leadership, the Better You Project. I couldn't get that out, right? Couldn't get that out. But anyway, here we go. So the Better You Leadership Podcast. I'm the host and the founder of the Better You Project. I finally got it out. That took a while. So the whole bottom line is we're on an ongoing journey to become better leaders. Ultimately, when women put some of these tips, techniques, and tactics in place, guess what? They're going to build their skills, their leadership capacity. This podcast teaches women the nuances of personal development with the intent of earning more respect and revenue. So every week, I'm your podcast host, Angela Odom. I'm a proven leader and I'm offering insights to help you on this journey. And so I'm rooting for you because what I want for you is to be a more trusted leader. And that's in all capacities of your life. Hey, Mo, I see you. So clarity is key to communicating purpose. Actually, the next few things I talk about, I read this article titled Clarity is Key to Communicating Purpose by artfulthinkers.com. And they wrote it in 2017. It's really relevant. I updated it, some of my own things now, but I want to make sure I give credit to people when I cite their work, right? That's the right thing to do. So, a huge mistake we often make in business, in our social environments, wherever it might be, is we just assume others will already know what we're asking and what we want. We do that in our personal relationships, also, right? We do that, with our pets. We do that in our workspace. We just assume, well, you know what I want. You don't know. I don't know what you want. I don't have no idea, right? And so effective communication skills are important to many aspects of our life and our career. This includes, being hired for a new job, working with clients and customers, working with teams, internal and external teams, and then leading people. Communication skills we know are very important, especially as you're establishing relationships. And it's so weird establishing relationships in this pandemic environment, right? Can't be touching people, can't be hugging people. You got to watch the whole distance thing. And then a lot of virtual engagements are happening. So you must be able to communicate, especially if you are securing new business at networking events. And those networking events, what is that really? That's kind of strange now. It's different. So you need to be honing in on your communication skills, honing in on your communication skills. So purpose is defined by your ambitions, actions, plans, and your principles. So how is this revealed? It's revealed through your communications, like both intentional and unintentional. And so you're communicating, with your mouth, and then you're online and all these different platforms. You might have someone um, handling your Twitter feed and saying all kind of foolishness on there. And oh, by the way, now you lost some business. So you want to know, you know, basically what we say is who we are, and whether it's how people perceive us or, really this is how we are. So the words we choose, whatever we're sharing, we're describing ourselves, we're joking or whatever it is, um, this illustrates our purpose. So you want people to respect you, then make sure you know what you're aware of how you're coming across and what you're saying. So simplicity empowers the communicator. Be simple with it. Stop trying to use all these 5,000 syllable words or slang and all this kind of stuff, jargon. When you're talking to someone and you're not familiar with their background, they're not familiar with yours, just keep it in the road, right? Especially, you know, if you are someone like me, I can out curse this drunkest sailor, right? I can out curse the drunkest church lady. You hear me? But in communication with people, I'm not doing it. I don't know you like that, but just know it's in me, right? So simplicity frees the recipient from interpreting due to a lack of clarity. So you want to be clear, you want to be simple with your words, whether you're writing or you're speaking, right? So complexity will often leave your audience lost in intent, and they'll make assumptions and the purpose and desired outcomes. And then simple and clear directions produces higher quality results. This past weekend, on the 1st, on January 1st, Happy New Year to you, by the way. I was at an event where I was the one who got all the people together, collaborated, garnered support, and arrived with 25 volunteers for an event. And so I had to keep it really simple and, include the time, location, what were their duties, what were their responsibilities, what was expected of them, what time should it be there, what do you wear, and then, oh, by the way, you getting paid or not? Is this a free event? All those kind of things have to be answered. So just in my written communication, I made sure I was very clear in with my intent and what I expected, and the feedback I received. Some of it was good and some was not, because it was like, well, wait a minute, what did you just say? You want me to do what? That's New Year's Day, right? All those things. What are we wearing? What color? What do we do? Okay, how long do we stay? And so you want to answer those questions. Just simplicity helps. So you want to have clear and concise messaging. This is really the key to convincing others to take action. So if I walk up to you right now and I say, hey, can you go with me to the store? It's roundabout this way. We might stay for 3 hours, or I don't know who's going to be there. You're like, nah, I don't think so. I got something else to do, right? So it's really no secret that business leaders are often frustrated by the lack of understanding. They sometimes feel like they're providing the directions and the orders. They're giving the guidance, and really they're frustrated. The frustration comes from the failure of communications, right? Which is caused by a lack of clarity. So really, it's your fault. It's your responsibility to be clear. Now, if someone asks questions, they're asking clarifying questions, then make sure you're not all in your feelings. You want to make sure that you are clear. And it's not clear if they don't understand. Let's be very clear about that. And oh, by the way, so bad communications can negatively impact, revenue, growth, relationship, and confidence. Because I don't know what you're saying. And oh, by the way, I don't even trust that you know what you're saying. So that's not good. So one of the things that you can do is you can test your message to reduce misinterpretation, and failure in communication. So you can test your message. So in this article I read, it said, how about just share one sentence with no less than 10 words and no more than 15 words with a person or a group. And I put a sample here, what this, I think it's like 13 words. So let's ensure we prepare for the next milestone update with our team leader. And so the whole point after that is you ask the person to repeat it back to you verbatim. Tell me exactly what I just said, right? And then you pause. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna like find out like what were the results? Did they actually recall what you said verbatim? And you can realize at that point whether or not you are clear in your communication. But sometimes there might be noise in the background, like communication noise. There might be something in the background. They might be on their phone. They maybe have listening. You might be mumbling. You might be boring. You might have something in your mouth. You have your mask on. All those things. So you take that in consideration. Might be some distractions. And so what you might also ask after that is just, hey, even if you don't know what I said exactly, what did we just talk about, or what did you get from what I said, right? And so you want to test your communication by asking clarifying questions. And another thing you want to do is know your audience and then set your own expectations as a communicator. uh, my God, there is so many distractions, and we as humans, we're not skilled in being good listeners, right? We're not. That's not a skill that's increasing in I think the world, right? So we also have very active brains. We got all these distractions, and our attention spans um, are less than goldfish. Are you kidding me? Right? There's a study by Microsoft did in 2015. Um, like as far as our communication as humans, we can concentrate for like 8 seconds at a time, while the goldfish can focus for 9 seconds. Oh my God. So your message really has to cut through a lot of noise to be heard, no matter the context, no matter the content. Clarity really makes the difference. And I'll tell you, so I think yesterday, yes, I was talking to my 6-year-old great nephew, which means my niece's son, right? I was talking to him. I'm in Georgia, he's in Mississippi on the phone. And his little cute self said to me, um, Auntie, I really want to come to your house. And I said, oh, okay, baby. And then he says, how long does it take to get there? As opposed to me just answering, not long, or okay, I'll talk to your mom. None of that. What I did was I started saying, oh, do you know how long it takes for your mommy to drop you off in the morning at your school and pick you up? I was trying to give him a time frame so he would know. And so she was on the phone. She had her phone. There in Mississippi, and she had her phone on speakerphone. And she said, "Oh no!" He walked away. He went back and start playing with his fort. He had made a fort in his room, and I just bust out laughing. She and I laughed, and I said, "The old lady, that would be me, is over here talking too long, and the 6-year-old is saying, I just asked you one question. We're not clear at all. So you have to know your audience, right? I need to know my audience. So after I talked to my niece for a little bit, I had him to come back to the phone, and I said to him, sweetie, it doesn't take long at all to get to my house. We will work it out, right? And we're done with that. So you want to make sure that you cut through the noise and the distractions in your own head. You might be talking like me, womp womp womp, blah blah blah, and you are not being heard. I thought that was amazingly cute to me. He was like, what is she talking about? So you want to never assume, assume that they didn't get it. That's not what I meant. You don't understand what I'm trying to tell you. Have you ever felt that type of frustration after delivering what you thought to be very clear communication? Somebody's like, well, what did you say? What did you mean by that? I didn't get you. I didn't hear you. So communication is tricky. It's an art. The biggest mistake made in business today, and our social circles also, is that we just assume others will clearly know what we want, right? What we're asking. So for critical communications, it's important to follow through with post analysis. Do those little tests like I just mentioned, right? And ask clarifying questions. And oh, by the way, shut your big old mouth. You can listen, and that might help also listen. Um, have you heard of that signpost markers or framers? Frameworks. You use frameworks. If I was to hold up my hand and like you were standing about 20 feet from me, and I just did like this, you waving my hand, so you can see, oh, this is where I am. Especially when I was in the army, we would march, walk, all this kind of thing, run, and sometimes you get ahead of somebody, and you would hold your hand up and they would know what direction you're going, and then they would come to you, right? So like markers, signposts. You might leave something something on the ground or something, so they can know where you've been, so they can know which way to go. So that's what I'm going to just share with you that you might want to try in your communication with your listeners, right? So using frameworks or signposts, you could just drop them throughout the conversation, and this is telling the listeners where you're headed, and it's also going to tell them where you've been, right? And so it might be some examples, right? Might be we touched on something earlier that I'd like to go back to, right? Let me think out loud for a moment, right? Let I've heard three different ideas so far. I like to add a fourth. I have a question that may seem unrelated. So these markers are quite short and simple. Okay, Mo, I see you said, oh, for my great nephew, he said he didn't have time for that. He did not have time for that. I was talking too much, right? Running my big old mouth. And then I see you say some people get upset when you ask for clarity. I never understood why. To get a better understanding, sometimes you need clarity, and break it down to me. I clearly agree with you. Yes. And oh, by the way, them getting upset is not your issue, unless you're being mean or loud or crazy. And I don't know. I just don't believe you are. So yeah, sometimes people get upset about like, um, wait a minute, can you say that again? They're like, what? I said it already. So that's their foolishness. And yes, you are absolutely correct. So these frameworks or markers, they're short and simple. Keep it short and simple. Keep it short and simple. So when you're serving in a leadership position, this really means that you have to think at a whole nother level, right? It's not like you're hanging out with your buds, or you're um, just talking to your best friend. If you're an executive or someone in a position of authority, and you're bouncing around from cubicle to cubicle, I guess at this point, supposed cubicle, you're bouncing around from one virtual platform to another virtual platform, or you're texting people. You just don't need to say the first thing that comes to your mind. You could do some really do some damage, right? People are trying to meet your expectation or do what they think you want, and you're just like, man, running around. So you want to insert frameworks to slow yourself down, and then this allow your thoughts to match the moment. You got to know the room, read the room, right? When I served as a um, battalion commander, was always so very aware of what was coming out of my mouth, realizing that that the people that I was serving with would want to attempt to manifest that which I have said. Right? They want to make that happen because we were spread out so far, and so if I just said, I think alpha detachment needs a case of water. And oh my God, if I didn't go back and clear that up, there might be cases on top of cases of water. And we were in Iraq, by the way, hot as all get out. And so you have to be clear and very responsible for your speech, right? What you're saying. So don't be bouncing around, just running your mouth without um, being very clear of the intent and asking people for what you want. So when you are talking, you've heard the old adage, when you're speaking, you're making speeches. It says, you want to tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. This is just a way to be clear. It's a framework for a speech. And so you want to apply that to the way you write and the way you speak also. And of course, you want to make sure you know your audience. So if your the receiver of your message does not get an understanding, who's to blame? Whose responsibility is that? Especially when you're not clear and you think you are. The communicator is the one that is responsible for the message, for the results. And so sometimes you hear people, they'll blame the audience for not understanding, when in fact, it was them being bad or poor communicators. So you sometimes produce unintended consequences, um, when clarity would be what's necessary and what's needed. So you want to be clear in your speech. You are the owner of the message, and you own the results, right? So that's where we are. So this is so cool. I want you to make sure that you um, understand communicating with clarity is a great skill to learn, to hone in on, to get better at, right? It's going to save you a lot of frustration, and it's going to build your team. It's going to help your family. It's going to help you in your social circles. It's going to help you with your pets, right? All this clarity is a good thing. Um, so, with that said, we're going to give you the opportunity to focus on you so you can lead them, as in others. The next round of the Women's 3 Hour Leadership Intensive is in 53 days. It's on February 26th. So, go to the Better You Project. .com, thebetteryouproject.com/women leadership intensive. That's February 26th, and look forward to go ahead and register now. And if you would be more comfortable with a one-on-one coaching opportunity, and you're ready to become a more trusted and effective leader, then schedule a virtual fit session with me. And you go to angelaodom.com/leadership capacity. And the Better You Leadership Podcast is hosted by a proven leader. That's me, Angela M. Odom. And I teach women the nuances of personal development so that they earn more respect and revenue. And I am always rooting for you. Thank you so much for your time today. Make sure that you are using markers, frameworks, that you take responsibility for the message that you are sending, and ask those clarifying questions. Oh, by the way, when people are asking you clarifying questions, and make sure that you answer them um, in the appropriate way. With that said, enjoy the rest of your day, and let's get after it.